Dr. Hiren Kumar Deva Sharma, Professor in Department of Information Technology at Guwahati University, to today's session of the role of artificial intelligence in managing organization under Industry 4.0. Dr. Sharma, a recipient of the prestigious URSI Young Scientist Award and IEEE Early Adopter Award, holds a PhD from Jadavpur University and has over 2 decades of academic and research experience. He has published more than 100 research papers, authored and edited several books with reputed publishers like Springer, and holds a patent in India. With prior appointments at SMIT, SRM University, and other leading institutions, his research spans AI, big data analytics, cybersecurity, and healthcare informatics. Dr. Sharma's contribution continue to bridge technology and societal applications of AI. To welcome him, I would kindly request Dr. Anandita Adhikari ma'am to offer him a khada and a memento. Now, let us warmly welcome Dr. Hiren Kumar Deva Sharma to the session. Can we just wait for 5 minutes? I'm sorry for this delay. Okay, once again, let us warmly welcome Dr. Hiren Kumar Deva Sharma to the session.
Thank you. Professor Anandita Adhikari, my dear colleague, Nita Dusya Madam, and other faculty members present here. Most importantly, my dear participants and my dear students. So it is indeed a pleasure to come back to SMIT and having some academic interactions. It is always privilege and pleasure actually. The reason being, my professional life started here. So in other words, I am coming back to my birthplace or coming back to my home. Thus it is always a pleasure, privilege, proud, everything. Although I worked here for 21 years, long years, my ending was also happy ending. There was no quarrel, no fight with anyone. So it will always be my pleasure to come back, and whenever I was contacted, I had no other thought but to agree to her proposal that I should take a session. But today I am really thankful to the Almighty, which we planned maybe 6 months before, or more than that. That has happened. But in this busy life these days, you can never predict actually what will happen after 6 months. Although you say that yes, I will do this, but you may not be finally able to do so. Somehow today I am able to do this, so I really thank the Almighty for permitting me to come back to my own place and having this session organized. Now, coming to the main aim, why I am here. Already you are aware, my dear student has introduced me with a lot of high words. But at the end of the day, I am basically a teacher. In that process, what has happened, it has happened. And I would always like to continue the academic practices. Therefore, wherever I find any opportunity for academic practice, I always agree to that. Now, when Madam told me about the theme of the FTP, it was use of generative AI in managing organizations, if I am correct. Then the topic is, of course, latest topic. So generative AI is there, managing organizations from management perspective it is there. Then what should I do in between, and how can I bring some value to this theme, and how can I do justice to the role that has been given to me. I thought Industry 4.0 is the latest trend, you already know about it. And Industrial Revolution 4.0 is almost about to complete actually. We are about to enter inside Industrial Revolution 5.0. So in this juncture, AI has played a very vital role. In fact, everything is around artificial intelligence these days. Therefore, I choose this topic, Industry 4.0 and 5.0 and then AI. And also to connect generative AI, which is the theme of the FTP, we will also see how generative AI is actually becoming relevant for running organizations or enterprises. So I have collected some research reports which are very, very encouraging, statistically very promising data that speaks about high volume of profit due to adoption of generative AI in industrial practices. So if we go through that document, we will come to know about the relevance and importance of this generative AI in industrial world. Now, in my presentation, therefore, what I'll do, we'll start with basics, say AI. We'll start with basics, say generative AI, then large language models, Industry 4.0, Industry 5.0, and how these things are integrated together so that you derive benefits of the technology without going into the depth of the technical part, which may not be necessary for you. At this forum, I think we are end users of technology and it should benefit us, that's it. How it does the thing, that may not be of that importance for us, but how it will benefit us, that is important. So what will be your takeaways? Let me tell you right in the beginning what I feel. Takeaways from this session, maybe you will have some general awareness. If you know all these things already, then it will be just augmentation of what already you have. And beyond that, we will address some burning questions. So those questions I do not have answer. You also may not have an answer, but we have to discuss, right? And we have to adopt. We have to practice. When you go back to your place, you can keep on thinking around those questions and find out some solutions. Society is waiting for those answers. For example, artificial intelligence, do we really need it? If we need it, at what level? What is its safety concern, etc., etc. So we'll come to that toward the end, right? So let me begin. Amit sir, thank you for coming. By the way, I'm a person of this place, so please do not mind. When I find my colleague, I cannot resist myself actually. Okay. So, the role of artificial intelligence in managing organizations or enterprises under changing scenarios of Industry 4.0. That is the title. This will be my agenda today. We will try to cover this in 2 hours time. Actually, by now it is 10, so we'll try to cover it in 1 hour and 45 minutes. 15 minutes we'll discuss. So these are various topics we are going to cover. Now, right in the beginning, let us start with AI concepts. What is AI? What is artificial intelligence? If we try to know, there are many definitions of this. And philosophers, practitioners, they have all put words together to define AI. If you Google, you will get it. I am not going into that. But just as a summary, what we want our human intelligence to be implanted on machines. Machines should exhibit intelligence like humans. That is what is the ultimate goal of AI. Then, how do we think? How do we take decisions? How do we exhibit our intelligence? These are all questions studied in cognitive science, psychology, and etc. etc. And many things are known, a lot of things are yet not known. Therefore, we actually cannot create that level of intelligence in in machines. The reason is we even do not know how our brains work at different times, right? However, there is some mimicry of human brain, what we know as neural network. And neural network is a very promising area that has of late given a lot of results. Therefore, people are now positive. They are encouraged, right? So in connection to artificial intelligence, when we talk about intelligence, when we tell that a machine is intelligent, suppose I build a machine and then I claim that this machine is intelligent, what is the basis? So what is the benchmark test that this machine has to pass in order to get recognized as an intelligent machine? So Alan Turing is one of the pioneers of the field of computing. I am coming to his details later on. He proposed a test which is known as Turing test, right? So what is that test? If a machine passes that test, then that machine will be named as intelligent machine. So what is that test? Let us know. It is known as, let us try to know, it is known as Turing test. I will quickly go through this diagram. Now here see, there are 3 participants here. B, A, C, right? See, A is a machine. It is a machine. B is also a machine. They are separated by a thick wall. They cannot see each other. There is another wall here. C also cannot see A and B. So what is C? C is a judge. C is a human being. Now, sitting this side, C will start interacting with A and B. She will ask some questions to A. She will also ask some questions to B through some texts. Question answering session. Now, if after a series of question answers conducted, if C cannot discriminate between B and A in terms of whether human or machine, then A has fooled C. Am I clear what I am saying? So I have conducted a lot of question answering. I am sitting here in C, and after hours of question and answering sessions, looking at the questions and answers, I really cannot say who is machine, who is human. If that is my situation, then A has fooled me. Then A is said to be an intelligent machine, or A has passed Turing test. This is the summary, right? So this was proposed by Alan Turing. Now, question is whether this is acceptable universally. Is there any critique to this? Yes, there are critics. People say that even if a machine is not intelligent, machine is not able to think like humans, even then a machine can pull the charge. So a machine which is not intelligent can pass this test. That kind of critique was also there. So that critic says that without understanding, if you have a lot of data with you, you can answer a question. Then how can I say he is intelligent? Like within us also, there are many students who can really memorize things very well. And at the time of exam, they produce from their memory and they get a lot of marks. But when you ask them to solve some questions in real time, they may not be able to exhibit that level of intelligence. Then you say that this person is having good memory, but he is not intelligent. That is a convention, right? So this can happen here also. Therefore, in 1980, philosopher John Searle proposed the Chinese room argument. So this is another test, Chinese room argument, challenging the idea that passing the Turing test equates to true intelligence. Searle argued that a machine could pass the Turing test by simply manipulating symbols without understanding them, which does not constitute genuine thinking. So machine is just going through the database. It is just matching as per the instructions written in the program. It is producing. And you are good, you think that machine is intelligent, but machine cannot really think. So what he suggested is very interesting. Although there are a lot of advantages and disadvantages, I am not going to that at this moment, but let us try to see the other test. Okay, I think this letter word. Yeah. Charles' Chinese room thought experiment. See, this is 2-hour session, right? It will be very boring if I continue talking and talking, right? So I will take multimodal facility. So I will run a YouTube video here. You just listen this carefully. It is very interesting. Okay.
Grammarly helps me get the best grade possible while depleting the least amount of hours of my week.
This person is put in a room with nothing
Please listen to this carefully.
thousands of Chinese symbols. The room has a letterbox. Occasionally, a paper with a Chinese symbol will be posted through the door. The room book instructs the person that when he receives a certain Chinese symbol through the door, he will respond with another Chinese symbol. Outside the room, we have Chinese speakers. They are in fact writing questions to the English speaker and putting them through the door. As the letters come in, the person in the room matches the symbol in the rule book and sends out another Chinese symbol. Okay, now the Chinese speakers outside the room are inputting these Chinese symbols and getting outputs of Chinese symbols. And they're managing to have a perfect conversation that they fully understand. As far as they're aware, the person in the room is fluent in Chinese and is understanding everything. And just by looking at the inputs and outputs, we too would think the person in the room is fluent in Chinese. But we know this person is not. He's just instructed to read the inputs and give the correct outputs. This person does not understand Chinese at all. I see. Searle here has shown, even though we see the correct inputs and outputs, there is no real understanding. This is exactly how a computer works. It is not thinking. It doesn't understand. It has programs running giving the right outputs to certain inputs, but it doesn't have mental states. The mind, however, is not like this. It does not work like a computer. The mind understands. Systems which operate clearly on syntactic processes, so inputs and outputs, based on algorithms, cannot realize any meaning or intentionality. For the mind to be nothing more than a computer program would mean all our thoughts are just programmed outputs with no real mental states. Because of this, it doesn't seem like functionalism really explains the phenomenon of the mind. Yes, I understand. Exactly.
So, what is this? I will now tell you. Already you have gone through this. Chinese room argument. What is this? There is a room locked. The person is inside. He doesn't know Chinese. He doesn't understand Chinese. But he has given lot of instructions. Large amount of instructions. Means if you receive this, you send out this. And from outside, there are two persons you have sent. They are sending some slips. Something is written there. So that is a question. The answer is sent back by the person just by matching those instructions. So what pattern I have received? This one. So in my table, it is mentioned, if I receive this, send this out. So he sends this out. The persons outside the room, they are happy. They feel that the person is intelligent because he is doing a perfect conversation. But in reality, the person doesn't understand Chinese. So how can you tell that that person is intelligent in the sense that he is understanding, he is taking decisions based on his learning, he is taking decisions based on his understanding, he is thinking? You can't argue it that way, is not it? So this is a model of an experiment that we can always conduct in the field of AI, right? So this is another school of thought which was challenging Turing test, right? Now, why I have come to this? See, in the world of AI, the moment we claim something to be intelligent, a group of people will always ask you, how is this intelligent? So you have to argue it, right? So basically my intention was to let you know about these two tests. And there are many like this. But Turing test is the most dominant one because of its simplicity and easy to implement kind of thing. It's not moving. On off, something like that. Is it locked? 1 second. I can use this one. Now, having some information about these two tests, now just try to look at the AI history, because now the current buzzword is AI and everybody is thinking that AI is just innovated, right? That is how the narrative is, but actually it is not. AI is something which is there for quite long. Look at this chronology. In 1943, the concept of neuron was developed. 1943. Today, people are talking about deep learning, which is essentially neural network. But it was modeled in 1943. 1950, Alan Turing publishes Computing Machinery and Intelligence, and he proposed Turing test. So let me tell you something about Alan Turing. He proposed a theoretical model of computer, which we know as Turing machine. So in that model, he said a computer is a device which will obviously do computing, and it will have these components: input, output, memory, processor. So he modeled that theory, and based on that theory, even today's most smart computer is based on it. There is no other model which is able to actually challenge that model, right? So he is Alan Turing. And there is a connection of Alan Turing with India. His parents, his father was a government employee under British government. And it is said that he was conceived in India, but he took birth in England. And he lived for only few years, I think 36 or 38 years. And in between, he has done remarkable work in the field of computing. Therefore, one award in his name has been instituted, just like Nobel. Nobel in other subjects, it is equivalent to Turing Award in computer science, very prestigious award. So he proposed that Turing test as well as the model for modern computation. 1952, Arthur Samuel develops a program that learns to play checkers. Checkers, Chinese checkers. That's a game. If you have played, you will know it's not chess. Checker is different game. So he developed it in 1952. 55, for the first time, the term artificial intelligence was coined. 1955. So today it is 2025, right? Now, in between 70s to 80s, there is no development of AI because people promised a lot. They spoke about the possibilities, but there was no adequate hardware actually. Since there is no platform to execute those ideas, AI concepts were only concepts. Then other researchers, they used to laugh at AI researchers. See, these people, they speak all big things, but nothing happens actually. So there are so many other fields of research, right? They laugh at those people. There is no funding, nothing. Therefore, that period is known as AI winters, 1970 to 1980. Then in 1990s, machine learning algorithms were revived. So gradually people have started work in this field. And in recent developments, you have seen in 2022, OpenAI releases ChatGPT, which is, of course, a later version of ChatGPT. It is again evolutionary. It started a few years back, but latest version has revolutionized because of its power in terms of conversation, in terms of text, and other sorts of data generation capability, right? Then in 2024, European Union establishes deadlines for companies to comply with new AI regulations. So this is important. Are you aware what is AI regulation? Any one of you, do you know what is AI regulation? Or if you can guess, what is AI regulation? It is a very important thing these days. See, of late, hardware has got a lot of capabilities. Therefore, all ideas which were in the field of AI possible to implement on those hardware, and people are implementing. There are lots of applications which we have witnessed, and it has brought a lot of threats to humanity, right? Now, if we continue such kind of research and computing efforts, you never know, technology may become just like atom bomb in the field of AI. So society is now concerned, governments, they are concerned. So what should we study, what we should not study, what should we develop, what we should not develop? So we need policies, we need rules, right? That is what is felt. Now that particular aspect is called AI regulation, right? Now, especially United States of America, they are very keen to implement AI regulations. Because as you know, there is no dearth of funding. When there is money, you can do everything. So that kind of situation there. So US government, they have already implemented AI regulations in state like California. Similarly, Europe also has started deploying regulations. And some countries are saying, no, let it come first. Before coming the possibilities of AI, if we control them this way, nothing may come out. So that school of thought is also there. So there is always debate, but every country will take their own step. And in our country, what is happening? Our government is actually promoting responsible AI in terms of regulations. So what is responsible AI? Effort should be there to generate, develop, and deploy AI systems which are fair enough, which are having no risk, which is safe, which is transparent, right? Which has no actually negative impact on the society. So if you take care of these attributes, then you are practicing responsible AI. So Government of India also has introduced Digital Data Protection Act in 2023. Apart from IT Act, what was implemented in 2000. So these regulations or laws actually tell us what is to be done, what is not to be done, what is offense, what is not an offense, right? So it is very important to know about regulations because we might be doing some crime without knowing. Because these days it's very difficult, right? So using ChatGPT, you may create some image just to defend somebody and then put it in social network. You think that this is just fun, but you do not know, without knowing you are committing an offense. You might be put behind the bar. So it is very important to know about these regulations. Now, in current trend, what is happening? AI is being used in many fields, including natural language processing, computer vision, healthcare. AI is being regulated in many states, including Colorado and California. Already I have said. Now, AI history we'll see later on. This is again a YouTube video. We'll see after some time. Okay, fine. Now, just to know about him, as I said, he took birth in 1912. His father was living in Almora, if you know, in Uttarakhand. He was there, and then they shifted. He took birth in England in the year 1912. Died in 1954, only 41 years he lived, but did remarkable work. There is a movie in his name, The Man Who Cracked the Nazi Code. It is there in YouTube, you can see. His parents' names are also there. He underwent some educational programs in Princeton. John McCarthy is known as father of artificial intelligence. Okay. And his contributions, if you look at, he developed a programming language called Lisp. Lisp was used to develop AI-based systems. Nowadays we have Python. Using Python, a lot of works are done. He also invented the concept of garbage collection. So what is garbage collection? See, garbage collection means in computers, when you run programs, after some time, some variables become unnecessary. They are no more required, but they consume memory. So if you do not free that memory, you cannot use that memory. So RAM is always limited. It is better to move it out. So he introduced that concept, that garbage collection after a regular interval of time, we should collect those data which are no longer in use, then we should discard it forever. So this concept was implemented in Java. That is why Java became so popular, one of the reasons, right? And then time sharing, concept of time sharing, also mathematical logic, which is foundation of AI actually. All contributions are connected to mostly AI. That is why he is also known as father of AI. A person we should really know about him. Now, I am coming almost towards the end of AI part as we have time constraints. When we talk about AI, what do we teach? What do we learn? Till last, say, 2018, the developments were not that level that we have many things to learn. We have only few things in the name of AI. There was only one course on AI. Initially it was an elective, then it was made core. But now people are offering BTech in AI. Even I think this institute also has BTech in AI. So you can think how it has actually propagated and evolved. So in earlier days, we used to teach these things, production systems, which is core concept of AI. In production systems, what happens? You get input, then that input is processed through some rules. Rules are known as production rules. So what production means? You produce output from the input. How that output is produced is actually governed by the rules. Therefore, those are production rules. And then you get output, right? So that was one major thing. Apart from that, search strategies. See, searching is a very big problem. Although we very often discuss search in terms of computing, but it is not the only area where search is required. Search is required everywhere. And almost all problems we can reduce to a search problem. I am giving you an example in terms of enterprise management. You think about e-commerce company like Amazon. They have got some order maybe from another geographical region and their store is somewhere else. Now they need to design that supply chain, how this article will be dispatched to that destination. So obviously you have multiple routes, right? Which route will be the optimal one? That's a search problem. You have many solutions, but you have to find out the optimal solution. And it is not a very easy problem, let me tell you. In computer science, these kind of problems are very complex because sometimes solution becomes costlier than the problem. Then it is of no use. For example, if you save 100 rupees by finding out the optimal route, but in order to find that optimal route, if you need to spend 500 rupees, what is the use, right? So AI is helping in those areas. So search is a very fundamental thing, and AI has a lot of approaches to address this kind of problems. So those things we used to teach. Predicate calculus, which is of course required for representing knowledge, because computer finally you have to be able to represent your knowledge in the form of something so that computer can understand and process it, right? So that's a mathematical framework. Then rule-based deduction systems means it's simple to understand, as I showed in Chinese room experiment, if this, then this. So rules are there defined, and most of the AI systems in initial days used to work as per rules, which you already have said, right? Therefore, there is no intelligence actually. However, when you have lot of rules, large number of options, from there it finds it out, it appears to be intelligent, right? Then plan generating systems. So planning, what is planning? Suppose a car has to move from here till the end of this road. There are so many obstacles in between. It has to pass by. So how will it plan its route? Another example, suppose I have to organize these many tables here in this room to accommodate these many people. What is the best arrangement? That is planning, right? So these are like in manufacturing units, you have to plan the floor because manufacturing plant has limited space and you have to place different machineries there, the supply belt in proper fashion. So planning of that floor is a very important task, right? So these are about floor planning or path planning, whatever it is. In AI, we used to discuss these things. And then object representation. How do we represent things for computer in AI domain? So these were the basic components. Apart from, we used to have knowledge representation and expert systems. So what is an expert system? Expert system means a system, software-based system, which will work like expert. Right? Suppose I am suffering from some disease. Symptoms I will write to that system. I am suffering from this, that, this, that. The system will give me answer. You probably are having these diseases, so you can take these medicines. Suppose you have some legal issues. You tell the computer through your text-based conversation, and then the system will respond to you. Like if you are having this kind of legal issues, you take these actions. So these are the early AI-based systems. Today's ChatGPT and all, they are based on these only, right? So this was the content of AI till say 2015. But after that, there is explosion. People were working silently. All of a sudden, lot of things have come, right? Now, generative AI, which is the theme of this workshop. What is generative AI? Generative AI, the name suggests it generates, right? It generates. What will it generate? It will generate text, it will generate image, it will generate video, it will generate audio, everything. So generative AI is a subdomain of AI. AI is a very big umbrella. Within that, you have generative AI, and generative AI will generate something. So what will it generate? It will generate text, it will generate audio, video against your prescription. You are a user, you will ask this system to generate something, it will generate. That is the basic idea. Now, very close term to it is LLM, large language model. Now, large language models and generative AI, are they same? That's the question. Are they same? Actually, they are not same. Generative AI is again a larger umbrella. Within that, we have LLMs. LLMs, they focus on texts. Simple. They will focus on texts. Means your conversation will be text-based. Now, you must have used ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT does not consider text only. If you ask the ChatGPT to draw an image, it will draw. So, ChatGPT in that sense is generative AI. But earlier versions of ChatGPT, they are not generative AI, they are only LLMs. So, very simple. If it works only with text, it is LLM. Otherwise, if it can handle other modes also, then it is generative AI. Right? So, what is written, what I have said, that is only written, so I am not reading that. Okay, you can Google Midjourney. Midjourney is a tool. It can generate images like ChatGPT. Suno, it can generate music. Right? It can generate music. And music generation is a very active research area in computer field. So if you give proper inputs, the system will generate music. Right? These are examples, cases actually, use cases. Then come to large language models. So large language models, LLMs, these days very popular. We will connect all these things to business toward end of this session. But before that, we have to know what is what, right? So LLM will work with languages. It is actually natural language processing. It will work with natural language. It will converse with you. It will chat with you. You give some questions, it will respond to you, right? Now question is, how does it do that? How does it do that? What I say is very simple to say, but it takes so many years to develop a particular LLM. So how it is done? So let me just, yes. Is it? Yeah, put it in slide, no problem. In between we'll run those YouTube videos and then from there we'll cut paste. No problem. So I will just give you the technical hint. I'm not going into details, just don't worry. First of all, what we do, try to understand that as a human, what we do. When we have a kid, just 2-3 years old, he or she doesn't even know how to speak. But by the age he or she reaches 10 years, the kid can speak a lot. What happens in between? If you try to think that, we populate his brains with words, with sentences, right? Do we teach them grammar? No. Especially in mother tongue, when we learn something, nobody teaches us grammar. We learn by samples. Therefore, kids, when they are very small, they make grammatical mistakes. And we enjoy those languages a lot. After a few years, you will see those kids will stop making those mistakes. But you have not taught them grammar. How? He or she learns from samples. Because we other members in the family, we keep conversing, right? We keep talking. He or she takes those samples. And in same tune, in same words, they also repeat, right? Like in our state, in Assam, when you move from one region to other region, the dialect, the tone, it will change. It is like that.